You're cleaning out your drawers, maybe you're rifling through some old coins that have been tucked away for ages, and then, bam, you stumble upon an old Abraham Lincoln penny with a D mint mark. Most people would think, just another penny, right? But what if I told you that little penny could actually be worth millions? Yup, you heard that right, millions. Stick around because today, we're diving into the world of the 1982 D mint mark Lincoln penny and why it's a true hidden treasure. Let's just say, you'll want to check your pockets and your coin jars after watching this video. Alright, let's break this down. You've probably seen a million Abraham Lincoln pennies over your lifetime. They're pretty common, right? They've been circulating since 1909, after all. But the 1982 D mint mark penny? Well, that's where things get interesting. You see, 1982 was a major year for pennies. That's the year the U.S. Treasury switched the composition of pennies from 95% copper to mostly zinc, with just a thin copper coating. The change was supposed to save money, but here's the kicker. Some of those pennies didn't get the memo. A few lucky ones were struck with a very rare, copper-filled mixture. These were the ones that became the holy grail of coin collectors to SO. What makes the 1982 D mint mark penny so valuable? Here's the deal. The real jackpot comes from the rare variety where the penny is actually 95% copper, not the zinc blend. But here's the twist. You can't just look at it and say, oh, that's copper. You need a keen eye. And of course, some scientific know-how to figure out if your penny's one of those ultra-rare ones. Now, let me tell you a funny little story. A while back, I found myself going through a box of old coins my grandma had left me. I was thinking, hey, maybe I've got a few collector's items here. I found a random 1982 penny, and I thought, this could be it. This could be the big one. So, I did what any curious person would do. I got out my magnifying glass and started squinting at that penny like it was the most important thing in the world. Turns out, it wasn't the rare copper one, sadly. But I'm not giving up hope. You just never know when the right penny will show up. Moral of the story? Always check your pennies. Folks, you might have a fortune in your hands without even knowing it. But how exactly can you tell if you've got a valuable 1982 D penny on your hands? Well, first things first, let's talk about the obvious stuff. The mint mark. The 1982 penny with a D mint mark was made at the Denver Mint. If you're looking at your penny and it's got that mint mark right below Lincoln's bust, that's a good start. Now, you're going to need to do a little more investigation. If you have a copper-filled 1982 D penny, it's worth a lot more than just its face value. In fact, some of these rare pennies can go for upwards of $1 million at auction. Yeah, you read that right, $1 million. Those pennies are like the unicorns of the coin world, so don't be surprised if you don't stumble upon one just by chance. But here's the thing. Even if your penny isn't worth $1 million, it could still be worth a decent chunk of change. The copper pennies from that era are worth more than face value because of the material alone. And if you've got one that's in near mint condition, your penny could be worth a lot more than you think. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, but how do I know if mine's the one? The first thing to do is check its weight. A regular 1982 penny that's mostly zinc will weigh around 2.5 grams. But the copper version weighs about 3.11 grams. So grab a scale. And if you find that yours is on the heavier side, congratulations, you might have something special. Of course, to really verify, you'll need to take it to an expert or get it tested. But that's a great first step. Here's a quick tip for you. If you're lucky enough to find a rare 1982 D copper penny, get it authenticated and graded. This will increase its value even more, especially if it's in top condition SO. What do you think? Do you have a few pennies lying around that might be worth more than you thought? The 1982 D mint mark penny is a great example of how the smallest coin can hide the biggest surprises. If you haven't checked your old pennies in a while, now's the time to do it. And who knows? You could be sitting on a literal gold mine. Before I wrap this up, here's the deal. If you love hearing about coins worth money, strategies for finding hidden treasures, and all things numismatics, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't want to miss the next time I uncover another gem that could make you a small fortune. So, go ahead and hit subscribe and keep your eyes peeled for those rare finds. Who knows? Your next big break could be hiding in your coin jar. Hey, coin collectors and curious treasure hunters. Have you ever found a coin lying around in your drawer or under your couch cushions and thought, could this be worth something? Well, if you've ever come across a 1952 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, stick around because you might be sitting on a literal gold mine, or at least a penny worth more than, well, a penny. In this video, we're diving into the crazy world of the 1952 penny and why it could be worth millions. Yes, you heard me right, millions. Let's get into it. All right, let's break it down. So, you've probably heard of rare coins going for big bucks, but I bet you didn't know that something as seemingly ordinary as a penny could fetch a fortune, especially the 1952 penny. Now, before you start diving into every coin jar in your house, let me give you a little bit of the backstory. In 1952, the U.S. Mint produced Lincoln pennies with a S mint mark, indicating they were minted in San Francisco. Most of these pennies are worth, a penny. But here's where things get interesting. The 1952 penny, due to a few factors like mintage numbers and a unique error, can be worth a whole lot more. We're talking $100,000 and beyond. If you've got the right condition and if it's been well preserved over the years. So, what makes this penny so special? Well, for starters, in 1952, the mint produced a whopping 28 million of these pennies, which sounds like a lot, right? But you've got to remember, many of them were used, lost, and even melted down over time. So finding one in great condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. And those that do exist in pristine condition, that's when the value starts skyrocketing. But here's where it gets wild. Because some 1952 pennies have been known to go for millions at auction, especially if they have a rare error. A small number of these pennies have been found with double die errors, meaning the design was stamped more than once, creating a slight overlap of the image. This little mistake can make the coin incredibly rare and even more valuable. Imagine holding something that's been mistaken for a printing error, and now it's worth more than your house. Here's a funny personal story for you. I remember the first time I found a coin that I thought could be worth something. It was a random penny I found while cleaning out a drawer. I was convinced it was a rare 1943 copper penny, which, if true, could be worth a small fortune. I did all the research, got so excited, and then realized, yep, it was just a regular penny. Total letdown. But hey, at least I learned a valuable lesson about checking for authenticity. And who knows, maybe that 1952 penny will be your lucky find. But don't get too excited just yet. If you're hoping that just any 1952 penny is going to make you a millionaire, pump the brakes a bit. Coin condition is crucial when it comes to value. A penny that's been sitting in a jar for decades with scratches, dirt, or rust isn't going to net you much more than its face value. But if you have one in uncirculated condition, and maybe even with that double die error, well, you could be holding on to a small fortune. So, let's talk about how to identify a 1952 penny that could be worth big money. The first step is always to check the mint mark. Look for the small S right under the year. Then, closely inspect the condition. Coins that are graded in excellent condition, without major wear or damage, will obviously fetch a higher price. You'll also want to make sure there's no damage from cleaning, which can actually decrease a coin's value. Trust me, you don't want to scrub away what could be your future retirement fund. And if you think this is all about luck, well, it's not. There are tons of collectors out there scouring the market, auctions, and even garage sales, looking for these hidden treasures. So, if you do come across a 1952 penny, get it evaluated by a professional, because you just never know. It could be your ticket to a new car, a vacation, or even paying off those student loans. Wouldn't that be nice? All right, now that you know how much the 1952 penny can be worth, it's time to take a good look at those pennies you've been tossing aside. Who knows? You might be sitting on the next big coin discovery. But remember, it's all about the condition, the rarity, and those special little minting errors. So, get out there, check your change, check your old coins, and maybe, just maybe, you'll find that $1,000,000 penny. And if you enjoyed this little treasure hunt, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more coin tips, tricks, and the latest news on what's hot in the coin market. If you want to keep learning about valuable coins, strategies for selling them, or maybe even find out if you're rich without knowing it, I've got you covered. The one you found in your couch cushions, or maybe in your kid's piggy bank, and you thought, it's just a penny. What's the worst that could happen? Well, brace yourselves because this penny, a 2019 Abraham Lincoln penny, might just be the treasure you didn't know you had. And if it's the right kind of penny, it could be worth, hold for dramatic pause, millions of dollars. Yeah, you heard me right. Millions. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be looking at every penny in your pocket like it's a golden ticket to the vault. Now, before you start running around your house screaming, "I'm rich," let's clear up a few things. We're talking about the 2019 Abraham Lincoln penny that's missing one crucial detail: the mint mark. No mint mark, no mint mark. Now, you might be thinking, what's so special about that? Well, my friend, this is where the story gets interesting. So, in 2019, the US Mint had this grand plan. Normally, they stamp pennies with a little mint mark to tell you where they were made, either in Philly, Denver, or San Francisco. But for some reason, a small batch of pennies from 2019 didn't get that mint mark. It was like the mint decided, hey, let's give the world a tiny coin mystery just to keep everyone on their toes. And guess what? That missing mint mark, my friends, turned these pennies into rare collector's items. Now, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, right. How could a penny possibly be worth that much? And here's the thing. It's rare. Really rare. I'm talking about a handful of these missing mint mark pennies floating around out there in the wild. And when something's rare, it automatically becomes valuable. Like finding a single sock that doesn't get lost in the laundry. That's a real treasure right there. Here's the kicker. These 2019 no mint mark pennies have been sold at auctions for prices so high they'll make your head spin. Some of them have gone for millions of dollars. We're talking about a coin that was supposed to be worth 1 cent, but now is worth, well, let's just say, your local coffee shop's next 10 years of sales. Now, hold on, before you head over to eBay and start listing every penny you find. Not all 2019 pennies without mint marks are worth a fortune. There's a lot of factors that go into determining how much these coins are worth, like condition, authenticity, and whether it's been professionally graded. So don't get too ahead of yourself. But if you find one of these puppies in mint condition and you get it verified, you could be looking at some serious cash in your pocket. Let me share a quick story. A couple of years ago, I was going through a box of old coins I inherited from my grandmother. I found this beat-up old penny. It was bent, covered in dirt, and looked like it had been through a war. Honestly, it looked like it belonged in the bottom of a wishing well somewhere. But I decided to hang on to it, and just for fun, I took it to a coin dealer. Turns out it wasn't just any old penny. It was a rare one. Nothing like the 2019 mystery penny, but still, it was worth a lot more than I'd ever imagined. And that got me thinking, if I'd thrown that penny out, I would have never known. So, the moral of the story is, never throw away your pennies. Who knows, one might just make you a millionaire. So, before you go diving into every penny jar and checking under your couch cushions, keep this in mind. Not every 2019 penny without a mint mark is going to make you rich. But if you do find one of these rare coins, you could be holding onto a piece of history and possibly a small fortune. If you think you've found a potential gold mine, don't just rush to sell it. Have it appraised, get it graded, and see what it's worth in today's market. Remember, a rare coin is only as valuable as the market says it is, and it's always best to do your research before you cash in. If you're loving these coin tips and want to hear more about how to spot rare coins that are worth a fortune, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You'll get all the latest strategies on what to look for in your pocket change, plus other neat tricks on how to make a little extra cash from your collection. Who knows, the next video might just make you a coin connoisseur and a millionaire. Don't miss out. So, go ahead, check those pennies, and as always, happy hunting. See you in the next video. Now, let's get to it. You may have heard about rare coins that are worth a fortune, but did you know that there's a specific penny from the year 2000 that could land you a small fortune? If you find it, of course. It's the 2000 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and it's making waves in the numismatic world. And here's the thing, it's not just any old penny. You see, back in the year 2000, the US Mint was printing billions of pennies. But there's one tiny, elusive detail that makes this penny so special. It has an O mint mark. Most pennies have a little D or S on them, depending on whether they were made in Denver or San Francisco. But some pennies from the year 2000, Well, they just don't have that mint mark, and that tiny difference is what makes them so sought after. See, here's where it gets wild. This little no mint mark glitch? It's a mistake, and like most mistakes, it's worth a lot more than expected. In fact, these coins can sell for upwards of $1 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny that may have slipped through your fingers can be worth millions of dollars. And not just a generic 2000 penny, only a select few of them that escaped with no mint mark. I remember the first time I came across one of these little guys. I was at a coffee shop, digging through my change after buying a latte. You know, the usual. Picking up the pennies, trying not to look too weird while counting them. I threw a few into my pocket, and as luck would have it, one of them was a 2000 no mint mark penny. I didn't think much of it at the time, just another penny to add to my jar. I mean, come on, who looks twice at a penny? Fast forward a few months, I'm researching coins for a video, and I stumble across this bad boy. I think to myself, wait a minute, that's my penny. I checked, and sure enough, I had one of these rare, mint error pennies sitting in my drawer. I couldn't believe it. That penny, which I almost tossed aside, could have been worth, well, let's just say I could have retired from my YouTube gig. Okay, but how do you actually spot a 2000 no mint mark penny? Here's the deal. First, you need to check the date. That's a no-brainer. But the real trick is checking the mint mark, or lack of it, right beneath the year. If you can't find the mint mark and you've got a 2000 penny, you might be holding onto a gold mine. The pennies that made it out of the mint without a mint mark are so rare that coin collectors and investors will pay top dollar for them. And I'm not talking about the kind of big money where you might get $10 for an old coin you find in your backyard. I mean serious money. A 2000 no mint mark penny could fetch hundreds of thousands, even millions, depending on its condition. So, that penny you have just lying around could make you a small fortune if you know what to look for. So, now you might be asking yourself, how do I find one of these? Where do I even begin? Well, folks, the answer isn't just in looking through your coin jar. You might find a lot of standard pennies, but it's about knowing the difference. And it's also about patience. Sometimes, rare finds are hidden in plain sight. All right, I hope that was as mind-blowing for you as it was for me when I first learned about these pennies. Who knew that such a small mistake could lead to such a huge payoff, right? But before you start rifling through every penny you own, remember, not every 2000 penny is a hidden treasure. But if you find one of these rare no mint mark beauties, well, it might be time to start looking for that yacht. If you want more tips on coins that could be worth a small fortune, make sure you subscribe. I've got a ton more coin strategies, insider info, and tips coming your way. You never know. Your next coin find could be worth a lot more than you think. So hit that subscribe button and let's get rich together. Or at least, semi-rich, like I can quit my day job rich. We'll take what we can get. Thanks for watching, and remember, keep checking those coins, because you never know when you'll find the next big thing. Hey there, coin lovers. Did you know that a single penny from 1971 with the right mint mark could be worth, wait for it, millions? Yeah, you heard me right. It's not a typo, and it's not some coin flipping joke. In fact, that humble little penny sitting in your jar could be the jackpot you've been waiting for. Stick around, because today we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1971 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and why it's creating waves in the market. So grab your magnifying glass and let's get into it. All right, let's start with the basics. Most of us think of pennies as pocket change, right? Maybe you find one on the sidewalk and just toss it in your jar, thinking, meh, it's just a penny. But here's the kicker. Not all pennies are created equal. Some pennies, especially ones from specific years and with specific mint marks, can actually be worth a lot more than their face value. Now, let's talk about the 1971 penny. We're not talking about just any penny here. We're specifically looking for one with the S mint mark. You might be wondering, what's the big deal about the 1971 penny? Well, hold on to your wallet, because this is where it gets interesting. The 1971 mint mark penny was produced at the San Francisco Mint, and while most of these pennies are worth just 1 cent, there's a very rare and very valuable version of this coin. You see, some of these pennies were accidentally struck with a double die error. Basically, the coin was stamped twice, creating a distinctive and rare look. This little mistake turns an average penny into a highly sought-after collectible, with some of these double-die errors selling for upwards of $1 million. Yes, I said a million. But before you get too excited, don't start rifling through your couch cushions just yet. Not every 1971's penny is going to make you rich. In fact, most of them are worth about the same as a regular penny. The ones you're looking for are the ones with that double die error. So, how do you spot them? Here's the fun part. You'll want to look at the lettering on the coin, especially the Liberty and In God We Trust inscriptions. If you see a noticeable doubling of the letters, like they're blurry or offset, that's your clue that you've found a rare one. It's kind of like spotting a celebrity in a crowd. It's not easy, but when you see it, you'll know it. Even if you find a regular 1971's penny in perfect condition, it's still worth more than face value. A well-preserved coin can fetch a few dollars, but that double die error is the holy grail. And if you happen to find one of those, well, congratulations. You might just be holding on to a future million-dollar treasure. Speaking of treasure hunts, let me tell you about my own experience with coins. I used to think my collection was full of just pennies until one day. I was going through some old boxes from my grandma's house. There it was, an old coin, not worth much at first glance. But I noticed something unusual. It looked like the letters on the coin were a little off. I did some research, and guess what? It turned out to be a rare error coin. While it wasn't a million-dollar find, it was worth way more than I expected. Sometimes, the most unassuming things can turn out to be valuable. Just like that old coin I found. Your 1971's penny could be hiding a secret that could make you some serious cash. So, don't toss those pennies aside without checking them out. You never know when a little bit of history might be staring you right in the face. So, what's the bottom line here? If you've got a 1971's penny lying around, take a second to check it out. Even if it doesn't have the double die error, it could still be worth more than face value. But if you happen to find that rare gem, you could be holding on to something worth millions. Remember, coin collecting isn't just about finding rare coins. It's about learning and enjoying the process. And hey, even if your pennies aren't worth millions, they can still teach you something cool about history and value. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare pennies, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips and tricks to share with you, whether it's about rare coins, strategies to find valuable collectibles, or how to make the most of your own coin collection. We're diving into something just as mind-blowing. The 2017 P Mint Mark penny. That's right, folks. A penny, worth 1 cent, could actually be worth millions of dollars. Sound crazy? Well, stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be scouring your piggy banks for this tiny treasure. So, buckle up and let's talk about why this little penny could be your golden ticket. Okay, let's break it down. We all know pennies are pretty, well, not worth much. They pile up in your couch cushions, get stuck in your car's cup holders, and are mostly used to fill those jars on your kitchen counter. But what if I told you that one particular penny from 2017 could be worth an absolute fortune? I mean, we're talking millions. Yeah, that's not a typo. Now, before you start digging through your change jar and hoping for the best, let me explain why this specific 2017 penny is causing such a stir. It all comes down to a very special mint mark, the P for Philadelphia. That's right, back in 2017, the U.S. Mint decided to put a P mint mark on pennies for the first time in over 200 years. Yeah, that's a big deal. The story goes that the U.S. Mint wanted to celebrate the history of the Philadelphia Mint by adding this P to the penny. This may sound like a small change, but here's the kicker: they didn't make a ton of them. Only about 500 million pennies were stamped with that P in 2017, which might sound like a lot, but in the world of rare coins, it's actually quite a small number. So, why are these pennies so valuable now? Well, it's because of the scarcity combined with the fact that some of these pennies were made with some unique characteristics. When a coin like this is produced in limited quantities or with small defects that make it stand out, collectors get real excited. And I'm talking about collectors who are willing to pay top dollar for just one of these little guys. But here's the twist in the story. It's not just any 2017 P penny that could be worth millions. Oh no, there's a specific condition these coins need to be in. A penny that's well preserved, in mint condition, and with no scratches or blemishes. Those are the ones that could fetch insane amounts. Some of these pennies, when in pristine condition, have been known to sell for over $1 million. Talk about turning a coin jar into a treasure chest, right? I've got $1 million penny just sitting in my wallet. But let's get real here. To be worth that kind of cash, your penny needs to meet the exact criteria. It's got to be in flawless condition, with no wear and tear, and preferably still in its original packaging if it has one. And of course, you need a buyer who's willing to pay that kind of money, which, let's face it, isn't exactly your average day at the bank. But hey, let me tell you about something that happened to me not too long ago. I was going through some old boxes in my attic. Yes, it's a mess up there. And I found a tin can filled with coins. I thought, well, it's just some spare change, probably nothing special. But you know what? Among those dimes, nickels, and a bunch of pennies, there was a shiny 2017 penny sitting right at the top. At first, I thought, this looks a little different. Maybe it's one of those special ones. So, I did what any curious collector would do. I pulled out my phone and started researching it. Turns out, my discovery wasn't quite $1 million find. Hey, a guy can dream. But I did manage to find a 2017 penny in really good condition. No scratches, no dents, just pure shiny glory. So, I popped it into a protective holder and now it sits in my collection, worth a bit more than just face value. And that's the point. You never know what you'll find while you're cleaning out your old stuff. Who knows? You could be sitting on a hidden gem without even realizing it. While it's super unlikely that your average 2017 penny is going to make you a millionaire overnight, it doesn't hurt to keep an eye out. If you happen to stumble upon a well-preserved one, you might just have something worth a pretty penny, pun intended. But always remember, it's all about condition, rarity, and demand if you want to learn more about which coins are worth money, the best strategies for collecting, or how to spot a valuable coin in your change jar, then be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more coin tips. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on future tips that could help you turn spare change into serious cash. Thanks for tuning in, and happy hunting. Who knows, the next coin you find might just be the jackpot. We're diving into a special penny that could make you a millionaire. Yup, you heard me right, a penny that could be worth millions. Stick around, because this is one coin story you won't want to miss. But before you start running to your coin jar, let me set the scene. Imagine it's 1985, the year Marty McFly first time traveled in Back to the Future, and you're casually flipping through some change and then, BM, you spot something odd. It's a 1985 Lincoln penny. But wait, there's no mint mark. Is this a mistake? Spoiler alert, it could be a golden opportunity. Let's talk about what a mint mark is. When a coin is made, it usually has a small letter stamped on it to show where it was produced. The two most common mint marks for pennies are D for Denver and S for San Francisco. But in 1985, for some reason, a few pennies rolled off the presses with no mint mark at all. It's like a mysterious one-in-a-million treasure hiding in plain sight. Now, if you're thinking, so what? It's just a penny, right? Well, buckle up. This specific 1985 no mint mark penny is a rare bird. Normally, you might not give a second glance to a penny worth 1 cent. But with this rare gem, its value skyrockets, like a coin version of a surprise plot twist in a movie. How much are we talking? Well, if you have a 1985 penny with no mint mark in mint condition, as in, barely touched by human hands and looking like it just rolled off the press, you could be sitting on a fortune. Some of these pennies have sold for over $1 million at auction. That's right, folks, a penny worth $1 million. It's like winning the lottery, but without all the waiting and ticket buying stress. Now, you might be thinking, that's cool, but where am I gonna find one of these $1 million pennies? Well, it's not as easy as stumbling upon it while looking for spare change in the laundry. I'll tell you, I actually have a personal experience with something like this. A couple of years ago, I was at a yard sale. Yeah, I'm the guy who buys weird old stuff at yard sales. Don't judge me. And I saw a jar of old coins for like $5. I grabbed it, thinking, hey, maybe I'll find a cool old quarter or something. I get home, dump it out, and boom, there's this weird penny with no mint mark. I stared at it for like 5 minutes, thinking I was either looking at a mistake or the next big jackpot. Long story short, it wasn't worth millions. But hey, I still sold it for a pretty decent price. Moral of the story? Always check your change, folks. So, how do you know if your 1985 penny is the one? First, check the condition. A penny in good shape, without wear or discoloration, will obviously be more valuable. But don't just judge it based on the naked eye. Grab a magnifying glass, or better yet, get a digital microscope. It's worth the investment. Second, look at the edges and the weight. If the edges are sharp and the weight feels right, it might just be your golden ticket. Also, don't be fooled by people who try to sell you a 1985 penny with no mint mark that's clearly been through the washer and looks like it's been through a battle. The market loves pristine coins, not ones that look like they've been through a blender. And trust me, if you find one, don't go running off to sell it immediately. Sometimes it's better to get an expert's opinion. I once tried to sell an old coin I found in my backyard, and turns out it was just an old play coin from the 90s. Don't rush to sell, always double check. Alright, so before you rush off and start scouring your penny jar like a treasure hunter, let's recap. The 1985 penny with no mint mark is a rare find that could be worth way more than just a cent if it's in mint condition. These bad boys have been known to fetch a cool million at auctions. But, like I said earlier, don't just go throwing your change into a fire pit to see if it's worth anything. Take your time, do your research, and always check the condition. And hey, if you're into learning more about rare coins, their hidden values, and how you can turn your spare change into big bucks, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I've got tons of tips coming your way. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on more coin hunting adventures. Smash that subscribe button, and let's find some more hidden treasures together. Until next time, happy hunting, and keep your eyes peeled for those pennies. One of them just might change your life. We're diving into one penny that's worth way more than just 1 cent. I'm talking about the 1961 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and this little copper coin could be sitting in your collection right now, worth a whole lot more than you might think. So grab that jar of spare change from your dresser, and let's see if you've got a potential gold mine hiding in there. Stick around, because this might just change the way you look at pennies forever. So let's start with the basics, shall we? A 1961 D Lincoln penny. It's a coin that most of us have probably seen. Maybe you've even tossed one into a wishing well or left it behind as spare change on a vending machine. But here's the kicker. The value of this penny isn't just a few cents. In some cases, it can be worth millions of dollars. Now, I know what you're thinking, there's no way. But trust me, this is no joke. This penny is kind of like that unexpected plot twist in a movie, where you're sitting there thinking, wait, how did we get here? But why, you ask? Well, here's the thing about the 1961 D penny. It's the rarity and condition that makes this coin so valuable. You see, the 1961 D penny wasn't minted in large numbers, so they're relatively scarce. But it's not just about having one. Oh no. It's all about the state of the penny itself. I'm talking about condition. You want that penny to be in mint condition, looking shiny and sharp, as if it just came out of a time machine. Now, don't just run to your coin jar, because not every 1961 D penny is worth millions. But in top-tier condition, it could fetch some pretty impressive numbers. We're talking anywhere from a few $1,000s to, believe it or not, over $1 million. Yes, you heard that right. A penny that could have you cruising around in a new car or even splurging on a vacation, just for finding a tiny coin in your pocket. Okay, but what's the catch? Well, it's about the condition. A lot of 1961 D pennies are worn down from being tossed around in our pockets and tossed into coin jars. The real prize is a well-preserved, shiny penny that's in proof condition. These are the ones that are minty fresh, like the day they were made. If you find one of those, and it's got the perfect amount of luster, you're holding on to a treasure. And you know what? This takes me back to a time when I thought I had found a rare coin. Let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I was rummaging through my old change jar, because hey, why not? And I came across a coin that looked older than the rest. I thought, maybe I've struck gold. So, I Googled it, found out it was from the 1980s, and the value was, well, not quite a fortune. But the lesson? Always double-check your pennies. You never know when you might hit the jackpot. So, what's the takeaway here? If you've got a 1961 D Lincoln penny, don't just toss it aside. Give it a second look, because it could be worth way more than you ever imagined. Even if it's not worth millions, You might just be holding onto a hidden gem worth hundreds or thousands. And remember, it's all about the condition, the rarity, and a little bit of luck. Who knows? Maybe your next coin could be the jackpot you've been waiting for. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more tips on coin collecting and how to spot hidden treasures in your everyday change. Trust me, you won't want to miss the next video where we'll dig into even more coins that could be worth a fortune. Stay sharp, happy hunting, and I'll see you in the next one.